Good evening. Shalom. I'm Rebecca Gold, Chair of Jewish Federation's Global Connections. Welcome to Unpacking Israel, Yom Ha'atzmaut. We are thrilled to be celebrating Israel Independence Day with all of you. Tonight, we will share our pride and our appreciation of our partner communities and our Israeli mishpacha, our family overseas. You will get a glimpse into why our Federation volunteers care and give so generously, and hear some beautiful Israeli music from 5 local Greater Metro West cantors. Thank you so much to all of you, volunteers and professionals who created this heartfelt program for us. Now, I'm happy to introduce our Federation CEO, Dov Ben Shimon. Dov, take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Chag Sameach. Thanks for joining us. I am Dov Ben Shimon. I'm the CEO of our Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West. We're thrilled to be here together virtually celebrating Israel's 73rd Independence Day. Here in Greater Metro West, we like to say that not only do we love Israel, but that we also live Israel. We do this by fostering meaningful connections through our Rishonim and Shlichim emissary programs in New Jersey and our partnership network communities in Israel and overseas. Each year, our Global Connections volunteers and professionals touch the lives of countless children, teens, and adults through programs and opportunities to connect, even when sometimes we have to be physically apart. Our support for Israel is unwavering. It isn't dependent on the political climate or which government or party is in power. It's woven through the fabric of our community's Jewish values. Kalal Yisrael, that all Jews are one, and Tikkun Olam, our shared commitment to repairing the world. I'm deeply grateful to the clergy members and participants of tonight's program, and for all of you for helping us to celebrate Israel while learning from our Israeli partners what our community means to them. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoy the program and the spirit of being together. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you Minden Rose to continue our program. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Minden Rose, and I'm a volunteer for Global Connections. My connection with Israel really began about 10 years ago. I am a convert to Judaism. I studied for a year and a half with my rabbi prior to my conversion, and near the end of our time together, I told him the one part of Judaism I didn't really connect with emotionally, even though I understood it from the bond of an intellectual standpoint, was a connection in my heart with Israel. Fast forward to December 2011, when I visited Israel for the first time with my synagogue. The trip was during Hanukkah, and I remember so well the absolute wonder and joy I felt at celebrating Hanukkah with the majority of the people around me, my people. In 2016 and 2017, I was privileged enough to return to Israel and travel with the Women's Philanthropy on their summer mission to Israel. It was on the 2016 mission that I was introduced to the Druze women of Horfesh. We cooked and ate with them and toured the shop the women of this community opened with the opportunities afforded to them as a result of their partnership with Greater Metro West. They were beyond gracious and welcoming to our group, and we all felt a bond with the Druze women we met. In the fall of 2017, I was invited to co-chair a committee in charge of making arrangements and designing and organizing programs for the first group of women and men from Horfesh to visit Greater Metro West in March 2018. Co-chairing this committee with Carolyn Goldstein was such an honor for me. Members of this committee formed very special relationships and true friendships with the Druze women and men we hosted. It was a week filled with love and much laughter, in addition to cooking and eating delicious traditional Druze dishes and learning more about the making of the beautiful handiwork the Druze women are known for. It is my true pleasure to introduce you to Asaf, one of the participants in the special inaugural visit to Greater Metro West by members of the Druze community. We will then listen to cantor Lucy Fishbein sing a song called Kinneret.
שלום לכולם, אני אוסף סאבק, מכפר חורפיש הדרוזי שבגליל העליון, אחת המשתתפות במיזם רקמות התחרה, וגם בת למשפחה שכולה. השתתפתי במשלחת המיזם לניו ג'רסי לפני 3 שנים. אנחנו הרבה שנים בשותפות עם הקהילה שם, והקשר הינו הדוק ומשפחתי. זאת הייתה אחת המשלחות הכי מוצלחות ומרגשות, ואת החוויה הזו אי אפשר לשכוח. אצלנו בכפר חורפיש יש לא מעט משפחות עם היסטוריה ארוכת שנים של גיוס בני נוער טובים לצה"ל ותרומה למדינה. ומצד שני, איבדנו לא מעט חללים אשר נפלו בעת מילוי תפקידם במלחמות ישראל ובנסיבות אחרות. בהזדמנות זו, בשמי ובשם כל הנשים במיזם רקמות התחרה, אנו מרכינים ראש לזכרם של כל החללים שנפלו בארצנו, ומאחלות לכולם חג עצמאות שמח.
The poet Rachel is known as one of the literary matriarchs of the State of Israel. Rachel wrote many poems about the land itself and her deep connection to the Kinneret as an early settler of the Galil. In this piece, set to music by another iconic Israeli artist, Naomi Shemer, Rachel captures a slice of the physical landscape of the Kinneret so distinctly that we're able, even 80 years later, to identify the spot in which she was sitting when she wrote the poem. This melody brings the poet's deep love for Eretz Yisrael to life, and this, in my mind, is a love song to the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee. Sham hare golan, choshet hayad vegabam, midmama botachat mitzavim, atzor, bivdidut korenet, nam חרמון הסבא, וצינה נושבת מפסגת הצחור. שם על חוף הים יש דקל שפל צמרת, סתור שיער הדקל כתינוק שובב, שגלש למטה ובמי כנרת משכשך רגליו. מה ירבו פרחים בחורף על הקרח, דם הכנענית וכתם הכרכום. יש ימים פי 7 אז ירוק הירק, פי 70 תכולה התכלת במרום. גם כי יברש ואהלך שכוח, והיה הלב למשועות זרים. האוכל לבגוד בך, האוכל לשכוח, האוכל לשכוח חסד נעורים. שם הרי גולן, שם הרי גולן, שם.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lucy. Rishon LeZion was our first Metro West connection to a community in Israel more than 40 years ago, and that connection has flourished into a full-fledged partnership. This is one of our greatest achievements of the Living Bridges program that we support. It's a huge part of the soul of our Federation Global Connections connection. One of the national programs we engage in is Diller Teen Fellows. 20 American 10th and 11th graders pair up with 20 Israeli students to embark on a year-long exchange that is life-changing. Now we will hear from some of those wonderful teens.
Hello, my name is Jack Reppin, and I am a senior at Parsippany Hills High School. I was a member of the Diller 12 cohort, and now that I am a JC, it's easier to reflect on my own experiences in the Holy Land. So Israel for me is a place where I feel a deeper connection to the land than I do with any other place. My connection is hard to describe in words because of the amount of Israeli culture and Jewish history I've discovered on the land. And it's a place where I can truly express my Jewish identity completely, as well as learn about the complex spectrum and the ways Jews express their identities. So having this connection to my own ancestral land is truly special to me, and I truly have a better understanding of my roots and why I value Judaism so much. So when I went to Israel with my Diller cohort, I was able to figure out the complexities of Israel with 19 of my best friends. We toured ancient water tunnels, visited Haredi rabbis, and toured the LGBT community in Tel Aviv, and everything in between. All these different experiences in Israel helped me to conclude that there is not just one identity when it comes to the people of Israel. Everyone in Israel experiences both Jewish and secular identities in very different ways, and this trip truly opened my mind to that fact. During my Diller experience, a true highlight was going to our partnership community in Rishon LeZion. While I got to this town, I felt like a local Israeli, living, eating, dancing, and acting like one. I felt extremely welcome and really that I had a place there. And I felt truly integrated into late night dinners, dancing with locals on the beach, and touring the city with my match Yonatan and the rest of the Diller Rishon cohort. My experience in Israel has helped further my understanding of my Jewish identity and established a connection to the land where I truly feel at home. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Lexi Abrams and I'm a senior at Milburn High School. I participated in the Diller Teen Fellows program 2 years ago and now I'm one of the junior counselors. While I was a fellow, I had the privilege of traveling to Israel for 3 weeks. I had been once before with my family, but we were only there for a week and we only covered the basics, the Western Wall, Dead Sea, the Masada, and other popular tourist attractions. But when I went to Israel with Diller, my eyes were opened to a completely new side of the country. We did the usual tourist activities, but we explored each place in more depth and with more purpose. I stayed with an Israeli family in Rishon LeZion, getting a brief taste of life in a bustling Israeli city. I went into the Tel Aviv Shuk and bargained for jewelry on my own. I listened to a panel of Israelis from different backgrounds and learned of their struggles and hardships. I went to the West Bank and learned the history of the conflict and how to work towards peace. Now, Israel for me is so much more than a country I can visit. It's a country where I will have lifelong friends. It's a country in which I don't always need a GPS to get around. It's a country that I want to come back to, time and time again. The personal connections I have with Israel, with the people, the land, and the history, will never fade away and will only grow stronger as time goes on.
Hello, my name is Li Shitrit. I'm a senior in Gymnasia Realit High School in Rishon LeZion in Israel. And I was a fellow in Diller Cohort 12, and now I'm a JC in Diller Cohort 14. And 2 years ago, I had a chance to visit the Greater Metro West community. And while being there and living with families and experiencing their daily lives and meeting people, I truly felt like home. I didn't feel like tourist at all. And when I came back to Israel, I really thought that that was the end of the connection between me to the community, between my community Rishon and Israel to Greater Metro West. And I was so wrong because since then, this connection meets me in so many places, such as in one of our community centers in my city, or in the Ramat Eliyahu neighborhood, or in the train station in Ofakim, and all sorts of places and projects and stuff that the community does in order to keep this connection alive. And to me, Independence Day in Israel really emphasizes the importance of the connection between Jews in Israel and Jews in the diaspora. And thank you so much for keeping this connection alive.
Shalom everyone, my name is Tari Fagan and I'm the JC of Diller Teen Fellows Cohort 14 here in Rishon LeZion. And for Yom Ha'atzmaut, I just want to say thank you for our fellows in New Jersey Metro West for being part of this amazing relationship that we have. An example for this relationship is my bonding with my JCM match, Jonah Leibovich. Even though the JCM didn't make out eventually in my time as a fellow, we kept in contact and we're actually talking on a weekly basis. So I just want to say thank you, and hope to see you soon.
Beginning in 1882, waves of hopeful immigrants from varied locations came to Palestine, Eretz Yisrael, to live their most free and authentic Jewish lives. David Zahavi was born in Jaffa in 1910 to parents who had arrived in 1899 from Romania. After becoming involved with youth organizations which set up Kibbutz Na'an, he was a popular song leader and began to compose music which described his homeland with vivid images, becoming the very first Israeli composer actually born in Israel, and as such was a father of the genre called Shirei Eretz Yisrael, the songs of the pre-state Chalutzim. At the age of 17, he found the poems of Yaakov Fishman in a youth magazine called Moledet, and composed this melody for Fishman's words to describe the vast, hot, melancholy desert and the heat-induced trance that sees the mirage of a caravan.
That was lovely. Thank you. Kibbutz Erez is our partner community on the border of Gaza. It's an oasis of calm, beauty, and resilience, a must visit on any trip to Israel in any season. The Global Connections Peoplehood Project, our 2-year adult exchange program, has developed volunteer leaders who have become some of our most dedicated ambassadors and supporters. Craig Grosswald of Peoplehood 5, and now the chair of Global Connections FedEd Leadership Development Program, shares a bit about how Kibbutz Erez stole his heart.
Hi, my name is Craig Grosswald. Israel is a very special place for me. It's a Jewish homeland, a spiritual and religious center, and a place with incredible food and culture. I visited Israel several times and love to spend time in Jerusalem, especially during Shabbat around the Western Wall. Makes me feel more Jewish, and as I visit the homeland, I feel like I fit in. One of my passions is good food and drink. Israel is a melting pot of different cultures and cuisines that speak to me. The convergence of Israeli, Arab, and European cultures, amongst many others, has a big influence on the Israeli food scene. From the shuk to great restaurants, wineries, Israel really has it all. As I was fortunate enough to spend a week of time at Kibbutz Erez. Kibbutz Erez is located on the northern border of the Gaza Strip. There are approximately 200 residents, and they're actually building a new neighborhood to bring in new members. The kibbutz is very family-oriented, and everybody takes care of each other. Personally, I spent time with Dotan Dur, who's originally from Kibbutz Erez. During my stay, Dotan and his family made me feel like part of the community. We ate communally, and I had many conversations with the residents to gain a better understanding of kibbutz life. It gave me a sense of belonging and a feeling of working more towards the common good. Dotan is a farming manager, and he was responsible for the land around the kibbutz. We picked avocados, oranges, and clementines. The fruit was so aromatic and sweet that it left me with a feeling that how could this grove sustain itself in the middle of the desert? And then as I was thinking, how do the people of Kibbutz Erez, who live in such close proximity to Gaza Strip, survive on their daily journey? Every year in February, there's a celebration of the kalanyot. It's a red flower that grows in the desert, and it draws people from all over Israel to come and picnic and see its beauty. These flowers display every year around February, and it brings a sense of hope and a sense of peace to see all the people around taking in this beauty in the desert. Kibbutz Erez overlooks the Gaza Strip, and over the years, Greater Metro West has supported the community with time and money. A new library, parks, bomb shelters, and yoga teachers to help children deal with the after effects of rockets. As I look back, I left Kibbutz Erez with a feeling of optimism, strength, and compassion. This is a community that rallies together, similar to the communities we live in. However, they get the added stress of constant conflict. May we see the day that there's long-lasting peace in their future. I'm proud to introduce Moshe Kupperman Mack from Erez, followed by Cantor Janet Roth of Temple Or Shalom.
לכל ידידינו ומוקירינו בקהילת מטרו ווסט בניו ג'רזי. אני ממש גאה שהתבקשתי להעביר לכם ברכה זו לקראת יום הזיכרון ויום העצמאות הקרבים. אני, משה קופרמן, עומק לכל אלה מביניכם שהיה לי העונג להכיר, חי בארז כבר כמעט 70 שנה, עם משפחה גדולה ועניפה. יש לנו, לי ולדליה אשתי, כאן בקיבוץ, בן ובת, להם 7 נכדים, ש5 מהם איתנו בקיבוץ. ויש לי מהם כבר 3 נינים, ובקרוב 4. אבל יש לי גם בין היתר נכדה נוספת, עם 2 נינים שגרים לא רחוק מכם, בניו ג'רזי, ארצות הברית. כמובן שאני גאה בכל 14 נכדיי, ובינתיים 5 ניניי. כבר שנים שהקשרים בינינו ובין קהילותיכם במטרו ווסט הולכים ומתעדקים ומסתעפים, וזה גורם לשמחה ועונג לכל חברי הקיבוץ. זה לא רק בגלל התרומות הנדיבות הרבות שכבר תרמתם לקהילתנו, אלא לא פחות הביקורים ההדדיים של רבים, ואצלנו וגם של חברינו אצלכם, שהופכים את הקשר הזה להרבה יותר מהנה, אמיתי וחברי. ימי הזיכרון והעצמאות הם נכס חשוב ומרכזי בחיינו, ואנו גאים במדינתנו מאוד. זה למרות הביקורת שיש לרבים איתנו על המשטר הנוכחי. לכן אני מברך אתכם דווקא בתקופה זו, מגפת הקורונה שלא פסחה לא עלינו ולא עליכם, ושיבשה מאוד את קשרינו, אבל יש תקווה ויש אור בקצה המנהרה. וקשרינו עוד יגברו בקרוב וישגשגו. בגלל האהבה הרבה שיש בינינו ובעזרת נציגי הסוכנות שכל כך עוזרים ומתווכים. חג עצמאות שמח לכל אחת ואחד מכם, ממני ומקיבוץ ארז.
Hashir al Haaretz, the poem by Yehoshua Sobol, the music by Yoni Rachter, a little bit of the translation from my good friend Batami Lifshitz, the song about the country. Let's sing the crazy song of the land. Let's sing the yellow song of the sand. Let me sing the song of the sick, the one who is in love, a true one without a name nor rights. Let me return in the roads full of love, sick to the moon, to go back again barefoot on the broken glass. I chose this song because when I mentioned it to Amit, his eyes lit up and he said, I love that song. I love that song too. I love this song. I'm Cantor Janet Roth, and this is Hashir al Haaretz. בוא נשיר את השיר המטורף של הארץ. בוא נשיר את השיר הצהוב של החול. יחפנים מתהלכים לאורכה ורוחבה של הארץ, ועושים מצווה אנשים פורקי אור. איפה הארץ ההיא שקראו לה קטנטונת? איפה התאווה מגוללת בחול? אנרכיסטים הולכים בדרכים לאורם רק כותונת, ובוערת אש בראשם ששורפת הכל. תנו לי לשוב אל אותה הפינה הנידחת, איפה אותם החיים עם שמחת הפשטות. תנו לי מילים עזובות, מנגינה נשכחת, להוציא מבין הקוצים קרעים של ילדות. תנו לי לשיר את השיר החולה הקודח, מאוהב וזרוק אמיתי בלי זכות וזכויות. תנו לי לחזור בדרכים החולות, אהבה לירח, שוב לחזור ללכת יחף על שברי זכוכיות. תנו לי לשוב אל אותה הפינה הנידחת, איפה אותם החיים עם שמחת הפשטות. תנו לי מילים עזובות, מנגינה נשכחת, להוציא מבין הקוצים קרעים של ילדות. בואו נשיר את השיר המטורף של הארץ. בואו נשיר את השיר הצהוב של החול. רחפנים מתהלכים לאורכה ולרוחבה של הארץ, ועושים איתו אנשים פורקי אור.
Wow, thank you, Cantor Roth. That was glorious. This year, we joyfully celebrate our 25th anniversary with our Negev community partners in Unpacking and Merhavim. It's hard to describe the depth of pride we feel about this relationship with the people and the land that are one of our homes away from home. In Greater Metro West, once we partner with a community, we're in it for the long haul, and we truly feel like family. Here, Linda Rosenthal, an outstanding leader in women's philanthropy and global connections, shares her passion.
Hello, my name is Linda Rosenthal. Israel for me is hope, a home for our people, the chance to be free to be who we are, the chance to celebrate our identity and our perseverance throughout time. I have done the March of the Living, starting in Poland in the darkness of the camps, and we moved on to the light, to Israel, to observe Yom HaZikaron and to celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut. It has been the most moving experience. Our future is tied to Israel's future. Its independence and pursuit of freedom, peace, justice, and equality is ours too. We are tied together. We stand with our family when we stand with Israel. So for me, that's what Israel is: hope, family, home. Ofakim, Merchavim are very special places. Our community has been part of their growth over these past 2 decades. I've been there on 2 Greater Metro West missions, seeing firsthand how we support these communities and how our efforts impact the lives of locals. This experience was incredibly meaningful. On a personal note, I went on one of the missions in 2017 with my daughter. We visited the Isha Center, which was established as a kind of refuge or place for personal growth. It offers a multitude of healthy programs for the women and girls of Ofakim, a safe place to come and do positive things. We visited the center, made cookies with the girls that were there after school. These life-affirming activities they might not otherwise get. While we were there, I met a local volunteer named Hadaya. Her English wasn't the best, but she wanted to improve, so we exchanged numbers. We've kept in touch on WhatsApp. That was 4 years ago. Since then, she's went on to serve in the military, continued school, and she's become a teacher. In fact, she got married a few weeks ago, and I attended the wedding via Zoom. When we go on these missions, when we make connections, not only to the places we visit, but the people who are there, they truly become an extension of our own family, our mishpucha. The pandemic may have kept us out of Israel this past year, but it's never out of our mind or our hearts, and very soon we'll be returning. If you have a chance to visit or join a mission, I would say it's a transformational opportunity. Thank you. And now I'm proud to introduce to you Itzhak Danino, Mayor of Ofakim, and Shai Hajjaj, Mayor of Merchavim Regional Council, with their Yom Ha'atzmaut greetings, followed by Cantor Kenneth Faybush of Temple Shalom of West Essex with the song Khan. Thank you.
חברי קהילת מטרו ווסט, ניו ג'רסי היקרים, אחיי ואחיותיי מעבר לים. אני, איציק דנינו, ראש עיריית אופקים, רוצה בשמי ובשם כל תושבי העיר לברך יחד איתכם את מדינת ישראל לרגל יום העצמאות ה-73. תחי מדינת ישראל. בנינו יחד מדינה מתקדמת ומתפתחת, מקום מבטחים לכל יהודי ויהודי. בהזדמנות זו אני רוצה להודות לכם, חברי הקהילה, על הקשר ארוך השנים ועל הקשרים האישיים שנרקמו בידידות אישית. אנחנו באופקים ממתינים בגעגוע להיפגש שוב ולהתחבק. זו הזדמנות לומר לכם תודה על השותפות המרגשת במשך 25 שנים. חג עצמאות שמח ישראל, חג עצמאות שמח ניו ג'רסי, חג עצמאות שמח מאופקים. תחי מדינת ישראל.
שלום, שי חג'אג', ראש המועצה האזורית מרחבים ויושב ראש מרכז השלטון האזורי. שלום לחברינו בקהילת מטרו ווסט. אנחנו אחרי יום השואה ולקראת יום הזיכרון לחללי צה"ל ולקראת יום העצמאות שולחים מכאן ברכה אדירה לחברינו בקהילת מטרו ווסט. ברור לכולנו, בטח אחרי יום השואה, מה חשיבותה של מדינת ישראל וכמה חשוב שמדינת ישראל תהיה חזקה ועוצמתית, אבל בעיקר חשוב גם התמיכה שלכם כיהודי התפוצות במדינת ישראל. אני מאחל לכולנו שימי הקורונה יעברו בקרוב ונוכל לראות אתכם כאן אצלנו, נארח אתכם כאן אצלנו, נעשה חילופי משלחות ונחזור למצב שגרה שבו הקהילות מחוברות לא רק דרך הזום אלא פיזית. אז באמת לכולנו שיהיה חג העצמאות שמח.
Hi, my name is Cantor Kenneth Feibush, and it's my honor to present the following song, Khan, written by Uzi Hitman in 1991. This song, which earned 3rd place in Eurovision, which is a pretty big deal other than winning, of course. is all about the love of Israel and the land itself. Here, this is where I was born. This is where I see my friends. This is where I grew up and where I have built my home. כאן ביתי פה, אני נולדתי, במישור אשר על שפת הים. כאן החברים, איתם גדלתי, ואין לי שום מקום אחר בעולם. אין לי שום מקום אחר בעולם. כאן ביתי פה, אני שיחקתי, בשבילה אשר על גב ההר. כאן מן הבאר שתיתי מים, ושתלתי דשא במדבר, ושתלתי דשא במדבר. כאן נולדתי, כאן נולדו לי ילדים, כאן בניתי את ביתי בשתי ידיי. כאן גם אתה איתי וכאן כל אלף ידידיי, ואחרי שנים 2000 סובלים דודיי. כאן את כל שיריי אני ניגנתי, והלכתי במסע לילי. כאן בנעוריי אני הגנתי על חלקת האלוהים שלי, על חלקת האלוהים שלי. כאן נולדתי, כאן נולדו לי ילדים, כאן בניתי את ביתי בשתי ידיי. כאן גם אתה איתי וכאן גואל את ידידיי, ואחרי שנים 2000 סובלים דודיי. כאן את שולחני אני ערכתי, פת את לחם פרק לענן, דרך לשכנים אני פתחתי, ומי שבא נאמר לו אהלן, ומי שבא נאמר לו אהלן. כאן נולדתי, כאן נולדו לי ילדים, כאן בניתי את ביתי בשתי ידיי. כאן אתה איתי וכאן כל אלף ידידיי, ואחרי שנים 2000 סובלים דודיי. כאן נולדתי, כאן נולדו לי ילדים, כאן בניתי את ביתי בשתי ידיי. כאן אתה איתי וכאן כל אלף ידידיי, ואחרי שנים 2000 סובלים דודיי, ואחרי שנים 2000 סובלים דודיי.
That was great. Thank you, Kenter. Another one of our longtime partner communities is Arad, a beautiful Negev desert town with a flourishing tourism and cultural scene. The first time I was there, it took my breath away. There is no sweeter air than the air of Arad, and we can't wait to be back, hopefully with many of you in tow. Here's a little vignette introduced by Maxine Schwartz, one of our past presidents of Women's Philanthropy and a superstar of our greater Metro West community, to share her love of Arad.
Hello, my name is Maxine Schwartz and I live in Westfield, New Jersey. I'm a proud member of Greater Metro West and a proud lover and supporter of Israel. I've been going to Israel for many, many years as my family and my cousins live there. Every so often, we would go to visit Kibbutz Sorah and Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and make our way around Israel. And over the years, Israel has become a part of me. And I still look forward to going back. Most recently, Rob and I were in Israel and we visited Arad with Federation. We visited the Music Conservatory, which was in disrepair, and it was very upsetting to see. So when we returned home to New Jersey and I was asked to be part of a committee to raise funds for the conservatory, of course, I jumped at the opportunity. I was thrilled to be part of this movement. Well, I became one out of 277 women, 277 Lions Leapers, who put their funds and their hearts and their interests in repairing and redesigning and invigorating the Music Conservatory in Arad. So proud to tell you that the conservatory right now is beautiful. It has been redesigned and reconfigured. It can now hold 100 more new students. It has new instruments and high-tech classrooms, and even a smart classroom that allows virtual concerts, which between you and me, I'm hoping we can get a virtual concert to our community very soon. But that's for another time. Anyway, the Music Conservatory in Arad has now become the hub of art and music and culture in the Negev. And our Greater Metro West women, our Lions Leapers, can be very proud of the role that we played in elevating the community and creating life and music and laughter for a long time to come. I love Israel. So proud of what we do in our community for Israel, and I can't wait to go back.
Hi guys, my name is Ilat Sahi and I'm a member in the steering committee of Arad et Negba. I'm also the CEO of the Economic Development Company, and last and most important, I'm Gaia's mother.
Hi everyone, my name is Gaia Tzachi and I was a part of Rishonim 15 back in 2017, and now I am part of Rishonim Chai. The relationship with the community had a huge impact on my life, and it was most definitely the best year of my life. So we both want to wish you Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach from Arad. We love you and miss you. Bye guys.
I'm Cantor Galita Dune Cohen, and I serve the wonderful community at Temple B'nai Or in Morristown, New Jersey. I have no other homeland. Ein li eretz acheret, the poem by Ehud Manor and the music by Corinne El Al, two very huge pillars of Israel poetry and music. Some of the words, I have no other homeland. Even when my ground is burning, only one Hebrew word pierces my veins into my soul. I must speak, for my homeland has changed. I can't be silent. I must remind her, and I will sing into her ear until she opens her eyes, until she renews her days. This beautiful modern reflection speaks of the old Jewish ancient wisdom that talks about how important it is to call out and pursue and speak the truth at all times. Ein li eretz acheret. אין לי ארץ אחרת, גם אם אדמתי בוערת, רק מילה בעברית חודרת אל אורכי, אל נשמתי, בגוף כואב, בלב רעב, כאן הוא ביתי. לא אשתוק כי ארצי שינתה את פניה, לא אוותר, לא אזכיר לה ואשיר כאן באוזניה, שתפקח את עיניה. אין לי ארץ אחרת, גם אם אדמתי בוערת, רק מילה בעברית חודרת
one of my favorite songs, and Galit, you did such a beautiful job. Hi, I'm Faith Rackison, Chair of the Israel Engagement Committee. I became involved in Greater Metro West in fall of 2019 when my family and I hosted a Rishonah, Geffen Ben David. Geffen's stay in our community was cut short, unfortunately, due to COVID, but my family developed a deep bond with her and with her family. The Rishonim program and all the work that Global Connections does in our community in Israel directly led me to my involvement as the chair of the Israel Engagement Committee. I'm so proud of the living bridges that we continue to develop and maintain. And tonight's program was a true representation of the lifelong bonds that were created through many of our Federation programs with our partnership communities. We'll now share with you a beautiful version of Hatikva prepared by the wonderful cantors of the Greater Metro West area synagogues. Thank you all for joining us tonight. It was meaningful to celebrate Yom Ha'atzmaut with all of you. The celebration continues tomorrow, April 15th at 7 p.m. with the Jewish Federations of North America. The link to register is in the chat. If you love our community's connections with our partners like I do, there's a great opportunity right now to leverage your generosity. Through April 30th, which is just a couple weeks away, every new and increased gift to the UJA annual campaign will be matched dollar for dollar by 2 local donor families. Your support is greatly appreciated and it does a world of good. Please be on the lookout for a follow-up email with a survey about this program. Thank you again for joining us. Stay safe, be healthy, and Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach.